All right, so I know that this is like the third example that we've done, so I'm going to show you one more, and then I want you to try the independent practice, which is really just 3 problems. So on this one, one thing also, you're not going to be given the boxes. You're going to have to draw those boxes. You always want to do 3 rows, 1, 2, 3, and then you want to do one more than the exponent in the columns, because remember, you do have that x to the 0 power term that comes up. Okay, so we're going to go to the 5th row, which is this last row right here, and we're going to write those out. So 1, 5, 10, 10, 5, 1. Notice how you filled all of those columns in, right? So okay, so we're going to take that first term and we're going to raise it to the 5th power, second term, and we're going to raise it to, I'm sorry, got ahead of myself. The second term and raise it to the 0 power. And we're going to go in descending order on the top bottom. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. And you're going to have to use a calculator. This is supposed to limit the amount of mistakes that you can make, but also at the same time, if you're not calculator savvy, then this can be a nightmare and a half. Okay? Also, if you don't know how to write, that's a problem too. Okay, so now we're going to actually multiply these down. So I'm going to take the first column and do it. So 0 power, anything raised to the 0 power is going to give you 1. So now we're just got to figure out what 3 to the 5th power is. I always write these out in parentheses because I got to remind myself that, hey, I got to take that first term and actually, or coefficient, and raise it to that power. So I'm going to go into my handy-dandy calculator, and I'm going to type 3 raised to the 5th power, and that's going to give me 243 x to the 5th. Okay, so now I'm going to go to my second column, and we've got 5 times negative 2, which is negative 10, and then we've got that 3 to the 4th power. So I'm going to go into my calculator, I'm going to say 3 raised to the 4th power, and I'm going to multiply that times 5 times negative 2. And that's going to give us negative 810 x to the 4th. And then we've got the next column. So this is going to give me, once I go into my calculator, 10 times 3 to the 3rd power times negative 2 raised to the 2nd power. And that's going to give us 1080 x to the 3rd. And then we've got, and again, use those calculators, 10 times 3 squared, use the parentheses, times negative 2 raised to the 3rd power, and that's negative 720 x squared. And then 5 times 3 times negative 2 to the 4th power, so negative 240 x to the 1st, and the last column. So 1, this will also be 1, and then negative 2 to the 5th power, so negative 2 to the 5th power. So that's going to give me negative 32. And fortunately, if you do Pascal's triangle, it's already in descending exponent order, so you don't have to do anything. You're already done. Okay, so that's one of the benefits for Pascal's triangle is it's organized. It makes your life a little bit easier. You only have to multiply like 6 times. You don't have to multiply 12 times. So that's pretty nice, but you just got to make sure your setup is correct. All right, so take a moment. I want you to try this one. And so remember, with Pascal's triangle, you need to make sure that you have it written out. If I write it from scratch, I'm going to have 1s, and then 1, 2, 1, 1, 3, 3, 1, 1, 4, 6, 4, 1, 1, 5, 10, 5. Oh, I'm sorry. Yep, nope, that's right. 1, 10, 10, 5, 1. My bad. Okay, so this is something that you probably want to have memorized. You want to have it all the way up to the 10th row, okay? And you can memorize it, or you can just notice the pattern, up to you, but you got to have it memorized in some form or fashion. Normally, we would have you memorize it. I would highly suggest just write it in your notes. Have one page that has Pascal's triangle on it so that you have it ready for when you take your quiz or your test. Hint, hint. Okay, so on number 4, you would draw those boxes. And remember, you would have that rows, have 3 rows. So 1, 2, 3. And then you would have 5 columns. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And in this first row, you're going to have Pascal's coefficients, which are going to be 1, 4, 6, 4, 1. And if you haven't already done so, or if you're like, I know what to do for the rest of them, I'm just going to check, you can pause the video and check your work. Or you can follow along with me. So we're going to take that first term and raise it to the 4th power, and then go in descending exponent order. And then we're going to take that second term, and we're going to raise it to the 0 power. And we're going to go into ascending order. And I would always suggest writing this out. Now we're going to multiply everything that's in this column. So it's going to give me x to the 4th. We're going to multiply everything that's in this column. So that's going to give me 4 times x to the 3rd times negative 2 is going to give me negative 8x to the 3rd. If I'm going to multiply everything that's in this column, I've got 6x squared negative 2 squared, which is going to be 4 times 6, which is 24x squared. We're going to multiply everything that's in this column. 4x to the 1st power, negative 2 raised to the 3rd power. Negative 2 raised to the 3rd power is going to give us negative 8. Negative 8 times 4 is going to give me negative 32. And then the last column, 1 times x to the 0 power is 1. Negative 2 raised to the 4th power is going to give us positive 16. Okay, be careful of your signs because you can mess those up and it changes your answer. Go ahead and take a moment, pause the video, and try this one. Try to draw the boxes on your own, and then we'll check your work. Alrighty, so on this one, the row that you're going to use is the 3rd row, or the one that includes the 3's. So when I draw my lovely boxes of doom, I'm going to have 3 rows. And I'm going to have 4 columns. Oh yeah, look at that. 1, 3, 3, 1. So remember, Pascal's coefficients go up in the top. And then you're going to take your first term and raise it to the 3rd power. First term, raise it to the 3rd. And then keep going down. Yeah. And then we're going to take our second term and raise it to the 0 power and go up. Everybody's hands go up. Okay, so now we're going to multiply with the columns. So 1 times 4x to the 3rd. But remember, you got to raise 4 to the 3rd power. So we go into our handy-dandy calculator and we say, hey girl, hey, 4 raised to the 3rd power. Because that's 64. And 3 to the 0 power is 1. So we've got 64x to the 3rd power. That's this guy. Okay, over here. Now we're going to have 4x to the 2nd power times 3 to the 1st power. So again, I'm going to come in here. I'm going to say 3 times 4 raised to the 2nd power times 1. And that's going to give me 144 x to the 2nd power. That's this guy right there. Okay, this one right here, I'm going to go into my calculator. I'm going to say 3 times 4 to the 1st power. I didn't do nothing for that. Times 3 to the 2nd power. Remember, use your parentheses of doom because otherwise you change the answer. Remember, if you're going to square something, like put it inside the parentheses and be like, there you go. 108x to the 1st. And then we got 1 times 0, this to the 0 power, which is 1, and 3 to the 3rd power, which is going to give me 27. Yes, yes. Boom, done. All right, last one. Here we go. So first thing we got to do is recognize Pascal's triangle. So homegirl's going to write this out. Oh, this is a lot of writing. Who made this? Okay, so we're going to do this one right here. Remember, we're going to draw out our little cute little boxes. We're going to have 3 rows. And then we're going to have 6 columns. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. And we're going to put this mess up here. Again, it doesn't have to be pretty, but it needs to be functional. So we're going to take that first term, and we're going to put it in the first boxes, and we're going to raise it to the 5th power. And then we're going to go into descending exponent order. You like my singing, I know. It's fine. Alright. And then we're going to take the second term. And remember to use your parentheses. And you're going to raise it in ascending order. I like the fact that our second term is -1. Kind of makes our lives a little bit easier. Just like switches the exponent. Or switches the sign. And we'll see that in just a second. Okay. So now, we're going to multiply this mess out. 2 to the 5th power. Too late to figure out 2 to the 5th power. I probably could, but calculators are a thing. 32. Okay, so 32x to the 5th power. Because remember, this is going to be 1. So y'all, 5 times 2 to the 4th power times -1. So this is going to be negative. I'm telling you that right now because of this guy. And 5, going into my calculator, 5 times 2 raised to the 4th power. Remember, use parentheses. Plus, -80x to the 4th. Boom. Okay. This one right here, we're going to multiply this one out. So we're going to have 10 times 2 to the 3rd power. Boom. And that's going to give us positive 80x to the 3rd. And the next one is going to give us negative, because -1 to the 3rd power is negative, 10 times 2 to the 4th. 2 to the 4th is 4. 10 times 10, which is -40x squared. Next one, 5 times 2 to the 1st, so that's 10. And you're going to make it positive, so 10x to the 1st. And last one, praise. We got 1 times -1 to the 5th power, which is going to give me negative. Oh no. Voila! It's done. Okay? So in your independent practice, you're just getting some practice on this stuff. And I know it's kind of challenging, but once you kind of get the hang of it, it's not too shabby. Okay? Good luck!